Sting started life as a musician gigging around the Newcastle area with traditional jazz big bands.
You started in Phoenix Jazz Band in Newcastle.
Phoenix Jazz Band, Last Exit, Newcastle Big Band.
You must have been the youngest guy, hadn't you?
I was probably, we played at the University Theatre every Sunday morning.
No. See, that was posh.
It was kind of posh.
Yes, it was.
Every weekend we play working men's clubs, Friday, Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
And occasionally I'd get a gig on a Wednesday night playing old-time dance night.
Yeah.
With ancient, like a trio with guys who were like in their 90s playing the drums and the piano. And they'd play for 2 hours non-stop just playing standards. And the only clue you would get about what they were going to play, they'd give you the key. That
was it.
That's the key of G, right? So you find the note, and you figure out what they're playing, and so I learned standards that way.
Yeah.
But it was fantastic. And then you get a sandwich, then you go back on and do another hour.
That's when you had to hump your own gear, up the stairs and.
I think it's an essential part of rock and roll. You have to hump hammered organs up and down cellar.
Isn't it funny how words change as you get old? Through the decades, humping was carrying gear, but
it's something else.
And then gear was a different word as well.
We've done a lot of humping in our younger days.
But not all of the clubs in Newcastle were as posh as the one Sting was playing with the big band.
Remember Friday nights at the Mayfair, there'd always be a fight. Usually Jimmy Nail is in the middle of it.
Jimmy Nail was always in the middle of it.
Stayed well away from the line.
Jimmy Nail's our good pal. And he was a bit of a boy in the old days, and...
Once the chairs started to fly, you knew you had to get out.
You could see some good bands on.
Saw Peter Green's Fleetwood Mac there. Can I tell you about my life?
Life, they say I'm a man of the world.
Fantastic.
But we're going to go down to the Bowery and visit
Memory Lane.
CBGB's and maybe give me a guided tour.
Thank you.
I'm in New York, heading downtown to the Bowery, where the Police played their very first American gig in 1978.
This is the famous 59th Street Bridge mentioned in Paul Simon's song.
Oh, yeah.
Slow down, you move too fast. You gotta make the morning last. Kicking around the cobblestones, looking for fun and feeling groovy.
Feeling groovy.
We thought the Tyne Bridge was fab, didn't we? I thought it was the biggest thing on the planet.
Between 1974 and 1977, Sting was in a band called Last Exit with guitarist Terry Ellis and keyboardist Jerry Richardson.
Whispering voices, get inside your head.
It was not commercial music, they were jazz rock. They started playing a regular gig at a little place called the Gosforth Hotel, one of those upstairs rooms in a pub, and took maybe 50, 60 people. They were very good musicians, all of them, and had already had considerable experience. They were aged 25-ish up to 40. In a sense, they did come from a different era, and Sting was attached to the old era and yet longed to do something else as well and reach out. I think he had certainly always tremendous ambition.
First London gig was Dingwalls, and then Open Anchor in Islington, the Red Cow in Fulham, the Greyhound.
The Greyhound, that was one we used to do as well. It was tough to make a living then, and, I read a quote from your book where you were saying, I just wanted to keep on moving and just have a bit of fun and, just like a musical gypsy, really.
That was the romance of it, Brian,
Yeah.
You get up in the morning, 3 o'clock, whatever, the roadie drives around, picks up the lads. Jerry Richardson puts his armchair in the back of the van because he likes to be comfy on a 300-mile drive, and that kind of thing. And meanwhile, of course, the vocalist has gone down separately in a Citroen with his wife and baby.
I had a little Citroen Diane, and I was driving down to London, and it was a snowy day, and my windscreen wiper snapped off.
Yeah.
Right? So I had to stop. I got the Blue Ball. I was at the Blue Ball.
Right.
And so I had to fix it with some wire. And as I'm fixing it, there was a big transit van parked next to the big one. And looking at me was Roy Wood, who'd taken a great deal of interest in me doing this thing. I said, "You all right, Roy?"
Roy Wood's wizard.
I thought, you know, I'll be up there one day.
Did you talk to him?
No, I didn't. He was just watching me fix my thing.
You know, I was just thinking, we're talking about, you know, going south on the Great North Road. Sometimes the worst journeys were going north on the Great North Road when you'd done your
Back
little
home.
stint and you had to drive back home. Can you remember the fog, the
Yeah.
nights, checking the petrol gauge? We might just get home, you know, driving through the night. It was dangerous as hell. And we were tired, because we'd be 3, 4 o'clock in the morning getting out of London.
After a while, Sting realized that if he was going to make it, he would have to move to London.
I had a teaching job in the Northeast, and at night I would work with the band. And then we decided at Last Exit as a band, we would go south on the Great North Road.
You actually had to leave the Northeast.
Well, you
had to
could
leave
become a
that
big
security.
fish in a little pond,
Yeah.
which is fine, but then what?
You had to have the guts to do that, to go down there.
Only 2 of us actually did it.
Yeah.
So me and Jerry ended up down there on our Todd, and then I joined the Police, because I got an offer from Stuart Copeland to join his band.
Yeah.
So.
Stuart Copeland was an American drummer living in London and playing with the band Curved Air.
I introduced Stuart to Sting, and that led on to, you know, world domination. Stuart got hold of Sting and said, right, we're going to be the Police. He already had the name ready-made, yeah. This is the name of the band, Sting. It's the Police, okay. But what they were going to play was punk. And so there's one great moment where Sting got up on stage and he started the set by saying, right, we're going to play some punk.
It was a punk band. It wasn't really my cup of tea.
Yeah.
But I thought I'd do it
I
anyway.
never thought of you as a punk band. It was just, it was too good.
That's how
And I
it
don't mean that
started.
with
No, that's how it
rugby,
started. But it wasn't real. We weren't really a punk band.
Yeah. But you actually did tour with the punk thing.
Cherry Vanilla hired me and Stuart to be in a backing band. We played the Roundhouse. We played all these little clubs all around Europe. And then we did the same for Wayne County, who was this cross-dressing rock and roll act whose big song was, "If you don't want to fuck me, fuck off."
Don't wanna fuck me, baby, baby, fuck off.
You don't write songs like that anymore.
So we played the punk circuit. I mean, you know, all around Holland and all around Germany and these dives. It was great, though.
It was while touring in Europe that Sting wrote the song that would propel him to stardom.
Roxanne, you don't have to put on the red light. Those days are over. You don't have to sell your body to the night.
You were on the road, and now when you're on the road, you know, you usually write more because you've nothing else to do.
I was in Paris. I was staying in a little hotel behind the Garden, or really a flea-bitten place. I think we had one room between the three of us, and it was a alleyway behind the station where the ladies of the night were plying their trade. I'd never actually seen that before. I was very naive. And
well, not in Wall's End, you
not
wouldn't.
in Wall's End. And I just was kind of intrigued by that world, and you know, what would it be like to have a relationship with one of these women?
Roxanne, you don't have to wear that dress tonight. Walk the streets for money. You don't care if it's wrong or if it's right.
So it's really a pimp song, I suppose.
Roxanne, you don't have to put on the red light. Roxanne, 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 Roxanne,
And I know when you're out on the road, you just seem to thrive on it. Because the songs came one after the other.
Another song called So Lonely, and the way I was singing So Lonely sounded like Sue Lawley.
So Lawley, that was it.
In the early days, the Police were permanently on the road playing gigs all across Europe and up and down the UK, usually with Sting at the wheel.
I was driving the van back from somewhere in the Lake District, going back to London that night. So it was like 2 or 3 in the morning. And I fell asleep at the wheel as we were drifting across into the middle of the road. And I sort of woke up screaming. And luckily, I knew how to do an opposite lock. You know, we were in a skid. And I pulled the thing on. The guys were asleep in the back. Andy and Stuart were asleep. So I could have killed the police that night.
Right and then.
So I thought, I'm never going to do that again.